Hey, y'all. Hey, it's JJ Conway. Welcome to Building Wealth Together, where our goal is to help you walk in abundance and leave a legacy. It's Wealth Building Wednesday, where we answer your money questions with style and grace. To ask your question, go to buildingwealthtogether.com and click Ask JJ or leave a voicemail at 1-833-4-ASK-JJC. Let's get into it. First question out the gate. I feel like I answered this question last month. Just in case, I'm going to answer it again. So this is someone who is concerned. They're on Medicaid. Both them and their fiance are on Medicaid. They're 65. They have no jobs. They have no retirement due to disabilities. And so this is really concerning for me because they're saying that when they get married, they would lose their Medicaid. They have no insurance, though, and they need to get insurance. And that's why I say I think I had this question before, because I think I had this question before, and I think I forgot to prepare beforehand, because most of the time, I already know the answers that you give me. When you guys send me a question, I kind of already know it, right? But this is one that I wasn't sure what their options were with the new healthcare plans and what the current status of all the healthcare arrangements are in our country right now. And so what's really concerning me here is no retirement, disabilities. When they get married, they'll lose Medicaid. And so there's only so much you can make to receive and continue to receive your benefits. But I sense a feeling of fear coming from this. And again, you can't tell tone from email. So I don't know what's really going on here, but there's always a way. And if you haven't found the way yet, then you have to keep looking for the way. Okay. And so transitioning to private insurance can be very, very expensive. And so we really need to sit down with somebody who is an insurance professional. And I know I'm starting to build my network here in my new town. I do know somebody here in my town. I would recommend that you sit down with an insurance professional and go through your options, because right now the problem that you're going to have is that you have no money and you have no income, and you don't even have, it doesn't even sound like you have disability income. So we want to get some of those things straightened out. Okay. And so if you'll reach out to me again, I can try and connect you with somebody who can sit down and talk to you from the insurance side. But then we also have to figure out how to improve your income. Okay, because you got to have a life. And even with disabilities, you can do something. If you could type me this message, then you absolutely can find something you can do to allow yourself to have some useful purpose and make a little bit of money. Okay, so let's brainstorm that a little bit better. And good on you for actually doing this planning now. Can I just say that real quick? Good on you for doing some of this planning now, because a lot of people, they get into situations and then everything changes and they're like, oh my goodness, what happened? Wait a second. How did this happen? Okay. So good on you for making those adjustments and trying to plan for that before you get married. Okay. But this is going to take an insurance professional to really, someone who is actually, you know what? Let me see something, because the zip codes are on here. Yeah. I do know somebody you can talk to. I do know somebody you can talk to in this town who will help you walk through. So reach out to me again. I don't have your name here, but reach out to me again and let's get you connected with somebody who can sit down and walk you through the options and help you get the best options for you and your fiance. Okay. Next question. How to prioritize the debts and how much to put aside for saving and spending habits. Okay. So they really want to understand how to get through their investments. This person doesn't say how old they are. And so this couple, I'm going to answer the question in a general sense. In a general sense, we want to have an emergency fund before we do anything else. And so one of the things that I like to talk about when it comes to our financial plan is we've got to be intentional about where we want to go. And then we need to be insulated from the ups and downs and the storms of life. And so I like people to have a little starter savings account, 500 to maybe even 2,000, depending on where you live and what kinds of expenses you might incur if something goes wrong, to really get that little account together so that as you go on your debt-free journey, this doesn't happen over here and now it derails you over there. Okay. So that you have a little padding. I call it being insulated, right? It's like putting on a raincoat because you know the rain's going to come at some point, right? So I recommend that first. And then I recommend tackling all of your debts except for your house, okay? And so there are some situations where we may want to move this around or that around, but for the most part, I like the snowball technique. It was first taught to me by Larry Burkett, and it's been made very, very popular by Dave Ramsey. And that is basically starting with the smallest debt, and then paying that off as quick as you can, and then taking the money you were paying to the smallest debt and now putting it to the next smallest debt, and then paying that off as quick as you can. What a lot of people tend to do is when they pay off one debt, they use that extra money to go have some fun with. I recommend that you don't do that trap, okay? You go in and take that money and throw it at the next possible debt and really be intense and intentional about what you want to do and get out of debt as quick as possible. Then I want to increase your savings. Okay. So we're going to be insulated at first. We're going to put on a little raincoat to protect us from the storms of life. Then we're going to get debt free. And then now we're going to make sure that we protect ourselves even further, because we know that just with this pandemic, that life happens. And when it happens in a big way. And so we're going to increase the size of the savings account. And we're going to make sure that we have things like our insurance well taken care of, that we've got adequate health insurance, that we've got adequate life insurance. Some of you out there need to get adequate car insurance, you know? So all of those things, we make sure that you're really protected from those happenings of life. And then we worry about investing. A lot of people think, oh, well, I've time value of money. I've learned that if you don't start now, you're missing out. And a lot of people have thought these things, and we've been taught these things. And then we hear about employers giving free money, and I can't leave free money on the table. But when you calculate it out, and I've done the calculations, I need to find that video, or maybe I just need to make a new one. But when you calculate it out, financially, you actually do come out ahead paying off your debt and then throwing all of that into your investments. Okay. For most of us, if we really get intense and intentional about what we want to do, we're out of debt in 3 or 4 or 5 years. So the market, that time value of money in 3 years is not enough to warrant staying in bondage to somebody else. Okay. It's not that 3 years. Let me say this again. That 3 years is not worth you being in bondage to somebody else. That 3 years that you're missing out on your time value of money, let me tell you something. You're going to build it up so fast because you're going to have more to invest when you do invest. It's going to be like it never even happened. It's going to be like that time period of your life getting out of debt never even happened. You're going to be so amazed at how your life turns around and at how fast you build wealth once you get out of debt. Woo! I'm so excited for you, okay? And now they also said they were looking for somebody to help them understand the different types of investments, such as health savings, IRAs, 401ks, 457s, and 401ks, 457, all those different kinds of plans are things that you would get through an employer. And it's going to depend on what type of employer you have, whether they can offer you certain types of retirement plans, okay? An individual retirement arrangement, an IRA, that's something you can set up outside of your employer, and you can have 2 different types. You can have a traditional IRA, or you can have a Roth IRA. I'm not going to teach a whole lot on them now, but I have a whole class that's on my YouTube channel, and it's part of my Building Wealth Together Facebook group on self-directed IRAs, which includes an overview of all the different types of IRAs. Okay. So those are definitely things that you want to take advantage of. I like the self-directed because I invest in real estate, but if you don't invest, you don't want something exotic like that, because then if you don't doing anything, you're not making any money. An HSA is a health savings account. And I would like to spend a moment to talk about that for just a second, because the HSA is a very viable plan for somebody who is either very poor health or very good health. An HSA, health savings account, is something you can create when you have a high deductible plan. So a lot of people have plans that maybe after $500 or $300, your medical care takes over the rest of the bills up to a certain amount. You might have a copay, right? But a high deductible plan, you're paying for all of your health care up until like $3,000 or $5,000. And then that health care plan takes the rest, right? But you got to meet that deductible. So in order to help people who are in those kinds of plans, the government has established these tax laws that allow for what's called a health savings account. And in the health savings account, you can put money in there. The earnings on that money are spent tax-free as long as they're spent to cover what you need for your high deductible health care plan. This is actually a brilliant strategy. And if you are young today and have access to this, I would encourage you to invest in the health savings account, because that money is your money. It rolls over, it continues to grow, and you pull it out tax free as long as you're using it for authorized purposes, which are generally related to your health. What I want to make sure that we don't confuse an HSA with is what's called an FSA, which is a flexible spending account. An FSA is also used for medical purposes. It's for things like glasses or dentists or whatever copays or things like that you have. But the difference between an HSA and an FSA is that FSA is a special benefit that you get. And if you don't use it, you lose it. So make sure you understand what you have and take advantage of everything that you have. All right. Great question. Okay, so this is a family that's having a little bit of trouble with their finances. They're really disagreeing about a lot of things, and they make variable income. So they've got a couple of issues going on here. The very first issue that they're having is they're having a real hard time putting together their baby emergency fund, which is about $1,000 for this particular couple. And so when I think about that, I remember the question that was asked of me when I first embarked on this journey. And the question was, if you knew that your son in 5 years would have, and I didn't have kids at the time when I started trying to be debt free the first time. If you knew that your child in 5 years was going to develop an incurable disease, and the only way to save him or her was to have $5,000 in cash for the special treatment, could you find a way between now and then to get that money together? How many of us as parents, it doesn't matter what it takes, we will find a way to get that money. And so I feel like this couple needs to have the same intent and intensity in order to really get that money together. There's a block there. Now, granted, COVID kind of gunked a lot of things up because a lot of the traditional ways of earning extra money kind of fled away from us during the time of COVID, okay? But even during time of COVID, there were still people who made extra money. There were still people who paid down debt. There were still people who started businesses and they thrived. There are still people who excelled at their primary business. There are still people who made it. There are still people who succeeded. There are still people who grew. There are still people who took advantage of the situation. And there are people in all walks of life who did well. And there are people in all walks of life who didn't come through COVID better than when they started. And we have to be intentional about where we want to go. I'm going to recommend that this couple go through my 28 days boot camp. And the reason I recommend that you go through is because we spend a lot of time in the beginning visualizing where do we want to go? What is it that you really want? And when this couple can come together about what they really want, not only will it make it easier for them to get aside their baby emergency fund, but also some of these disagreements they're writing me about here, some of those disagreements will fade away. Because when you are committed to your future, it becomes the filter through which you make all your other decisions. When I am committed, when me and my husband are committed to, we want to get here in 3 years, something comes up. Is that important enough to derail the plan? No. Something else comes up. Will this help us get to the plan? Yes. Okay, we'll go for it. Will this help us get to the plan? Nope. Set it aside. When we understand our purpose, it guides us and it helps us weed out all the chaff. It helps us avoid the distractions and it helps us be singularly committed and disciplined to what it is we want to do. Remember what Napoleon Hill said about poor people. People who remain in poverty, They make their decisions according to their present circumstances and conditions. I would encourage you, and especially this couple, I would encourage anybody listening or watching today to make decisions according to your strategic goals, according to the purpose of your life. And when you make decisions according to your purpose, you stop squabbling over whether or not to sell the car. You stop squabbling over whether or not to sell the truck. You stop squabbling over whether or not to get together this $1,000. You stop squabbling over whether or not to pay off these debts. You stop squabbling over whether or not to do this or to do that because you're in unity and you understand your purpose. So that's where I would spend the time. I would spend the time really sitting down and dreaming together and understanding where you want to go. All right, let's see. Oh, well, that is kind of embarrassing. Somebody wrote here, I've been trying to schedule an appointment with you and I can't seem to get a hold of you. Yes, I'm so sorry. I I'm so sorry. I do these classes online and I have kind of been taking time to enjoy being retired from the military. And so my schedule's been kind of willy-nilly and even with the summer, well, I'm not even working in July. So I mean, like I'm just so thankful that I can do that, right? Like I'm so thankful that I have that kind of flexibility, but I will try to be more mindful of the fact that I do have a responsibility to my audience and my clients. Okay. Whoops. Okay. Let's see. What are some innovative or non-traditional ways to finance a condo? Oh, I love this question. Non-traditional ways to finance your property besides conventional mortgages. All right. Now, look, I don't have at my command the time to go into all of the creative financing strategies, but did you see how my face lit up at this question? I love, love, love creative financing strategies because creative financing strategies is how I used real estate to get out of debt when I was in so much debt. You see, I couldn't just take more debt. Wasn't nobody going to loan anything to a girl who's got $845,000 of debt. All right. Single military mom and, living in the South. Let's be real. Single military black mom living in the South. Nobody's going to loan to me, but I had bills to pay and I needed to get out of this debt by the time I retired from the military. That was my goal, y'all. And so when it comes to creative strategies, there's a couple of different strategies that I really love. So aside from a conventional mortgage, there's a thing called owner financing. And this is where you are still getting a mortgage. It's still a mortgage, okay? But it's executed with the owner instead of a bank. And the benefit to a lot of people with working directly with an owner is that if you build a relationship with the owner and they trust you and they know you, they will be able to give you more favorable terms and with less rigmarole than what the banks entail. Okay. Now, there are some cases in which owner financing requires a higher payment or might require additional issues. So the very first technique would be owner financing. This is where you find a property where you can build rapport with the owner and get them to give you a favorable terms that work for you and for them. Okay. The next strategy that I want to talk about, is a lease option. Now, lease option is very interesting because you're not actually buying the house right away, but what you are buying is you are buying an option to buy the house later. So if your credit is really bad and you're trying to clean things up, you've just gotten out of a bad divorce or your spouse died and you lost your job for COVID and things just got gunked up. Okay. Whatever the situation was, you know that if you had a year or 2 or 3 to clean it up, you would be all right. Well, you could try something called a lease option. This is where you and the owner come to an agreement that in X number of years, I'm going to buy this property for such and such. And because you're going to hold it for me, I'm paying you an option fee. The option fee might be $1,000, might be $5,000, depending on the property. It might be $10,000. But basically what's happening is you are signing a contract to buy this property at a predetermined price, and you are going to rent it until then. And it gives you time to clean up your credit, not through a credit cleanup company. Don't do it. But it gives you time to clean up your credit. And then you can buy the property at the agreed on price. Okay. So that's another great strategy. Now, one of my favorite strategies to buy a property, condo, commercial, house, whatever it is, to buy a property is what's called subject to. Now, there are some things you have to watch out for with subject to, okay? But the thing is about subject to is you are not taking on a new loan. You are simply taking over somebody else's loan. Okay, so somebody's in a situation where they need to unload a property quickly. You are in a position where you want the property. You all come to a win-win agreement where you take the property off their hands and you simply get their loan caught up and make their payments. A lot of times people will come to you with a property that doesn't have a lot of equity. It's not actually behind, but it needs a lot of repair. And so they can't do the repairs. They need to sell it, but they really need to get this payment off their shoulders. You swoop in, you take over the payments, you make the fix up. It's a win-win, y'all. And then, you can even turn around later and resell that property at a profit because you've done the fix up. I mean, talk about a win-win-win. That's a win for you, a win for the original owner, and a win for the person who gets the house ultimately, okay? If it's not just you, because that's how I'm going to buy my next house is going to be subject to. All right. So those are some really good creative strategies. And the reason I love this question so much is so many people are afraid that it's too late for them. And if they follow the steps to get out of debt, they're not going to have enough time to buy their own house before they're 50, or buy their own house before they're 60, or buy their own house before they're 70. But these strategies that I just gave you, you can use them at any time, and it doesn't have to take very long. Now, I have a whole class on this in my DART real estate investment group. So you can go to dartrei.com and you'll see the whole class on real estate investing that allows you to learn about these different techniques. And one of those classes, I got a whole class on creative financing. Okay. Fantastic question. Thank you for asking it. Okay. Oh, hey, somebody's here is like, I want to be an affiliate. I want you to be an affiliate. Whoop, whoop. All right. Let me tell you a little bit about my affiliate program. First, let me tell you what an affiliate program is. I guess I should start there. An affiliate program works based on the concept that people are more likely to buy a product if it's been recommended from a friend. So when I post an Amazon link, if you like me, if you know, like, and trust me, you're more likely to buy whatever I post that I'm looking at on Amazon than if you just saw it on Amazon by yourself. And so companies like Amazon and me, we use what's called affiliates. When you sign up as an affiliate for Amazon, or when you sign up as an affiliate for JJ Conway, you create a special link. That link tells the company that whoever buys through that link is being referred by you. When you post that special link to one of my classes that has your special affiliate code built in, and somebody buys the class in my affiliate program, you make 50% of the purchase price. You might wonder, JJ, why do you always offer 50% off sales? Well, because I'm generally not making but 50% off of it anyway. Because my affiliates get the rest of it, because that's the bulk of my sales force, right? So what you get that affiliate link and you post it on your Facebook page, and somebody buys into my next class and you get 50% of the purchase price. Easy peasy. Amazon's a little bit more difficult. I have a whole class on how to do Amazon affiliates. I love it because it's just like extra money, right? It's just extra money for stuff you were already posting anyway. I'm already posting, hey, has anybody tried this? I'm already posting, hey, this is something, you want to know what little man wants for Christmas? Here you go. Like, you're already posting these kinds of things. You ought to get paid for it, right? That's how affiliate marketing works. And to become a part of my affiliate program, you just need to go to buildingwealthtogether.com. And if you scroll down, you've got JJ's affiliate program. It says earn while you learn. It's me with a bunch of money, y'all. Isn't that gorgeous? All right. I love this picture. It was taken by Crystal Halpert Photography. All right. It says JJ Conway's affiliate program. You help me, I'll help you, right? It's free course. When you enroll in this free course, I go in there regularly, a couple times a week, and everybody who's enrolled, I activate them as an affiliate, and then I activate them with that 50%. Okay. And so this is one of those things where you don't have any cost. There's no cost. There's no downside to it. It's just you getting an opportunity to earn something from helping me do what I do. Okay. So you can see in the steps here. And again, those of you who are listening to the podcast, you're going to want to go out to buildingwealthtogether.com /P/affiliate. That's the link to it. I'm reading it off the screen right now. You take the course. It's me in a video showing you how to do it. You get the special code, you post it on your social media, and you get 50%. That's it. Okay. And the reason it works is because it's a win-win-win. And I love a win-win-win. It's a win for me because you just spread the word about my courses to somebody else. It's a win for you because you got paid when your friend bought it. And it's a win for your friend because they're going to get life-changing financial information, y'all, that's totally worth their purchase price. Actually, I strive to give so much value. Everything I sell is worth way more than the purchase price. So you can feel confident in sharing those links, especially if you've taken a class and you tell your friends how great the class is. Oh, come on now. This is a great way. And you might say, well, why would you want to give away money like that? Why don't you just sell the classes? I do. I love it. I love waking up and seeing somebody else bought another $500 class. I mean, I'm not going to ever say I don't love that, right? But the thing is, I remember what it was like when I didn't have any money. I remember how humbled I was as a lieutenant in the Air Force when I called in to Larry Burkett and I didn't have $8 for his tape program, his cassette tape program to get out of debt. How humbled I was that he sent it to me anyway. Right. And the only thing I had to do was promise to help other people get out of debt. And then I discovered I had a knack for it. Right. But I also remember how humbled I was 10 years later, where now I've come home from this military trip to divorce papers. My house is sold. My stuff is thrown out. And we're $845,000 of debt. It's like 845,000 little voices telling me I failed, right? And then I make so much because by now I've progressed in my career. I'm a major in the Air Force and I can't even get assistance because I make too much money. So here I am in this hamstrung situation that I couldn't find any help. And I tell you what, doing these kinds of affiliate things, that's how I paid my way through a lot of these expensive mentoring and coaching programs that I couldn't afford. I didn't have big bucks to take this person's muckety muck class or that person's writing class. I built relationships with people and I was their affiliates and I earned while I learned. And so I'm always going to make an opportunity for somebody who feels like they can't afford this class or that class. They'll be able to find a way to get into my class because all you've got to do is bring 2 people with you. And that's why I started the affiliate program. But now it's become an avenue for so many people who've lost their jobs in COVID, or they've had children and they don't know what to do, and they want to be home with their child and they want to make money. And it's just a win-win-win. I'm always going to make a way for somebody to win-win-win. Now, I can't guarantee that it's always going to be 50%. Now, anybody who enrolls now, it'll always be 50%. But I can't guarantee that, next year, as my business grows, next year I may drop it to 25%. So if that's something you want to do, you better jump in now before I change it down, right? So you always get, whatever it is, it's lifetime, right? So whatever I said, mainly because I'm too lazy to go back and change it after the fact. But once I set you up, you're set up. But I mean, I always got to make a way. I got to make a way. I have gotten so big in this business. How many of you remember it was only like 2 years ago? How many of you remember Sundays? And I would send out that Sunday email about how I'm praying for you. I would literally pray for everybody on that list. It was like maybe 300 or 400 people. We've grown so big now. I don't have that kind of capacity. I can barely pray for my elect lady's jurisdiction. I literally don't have the capacity to call everybody on my list out by name anymore. But remember those days. And as we grew, and it's like, well, I can't help everybody for free, but what can I do? What can I do so that nobody is left behind? Because I remember asking for help and people didn't want to help. And I remember needing help and I couldn't afford the help. And I'm thankful for those people that made a way. It wasn't a free way. It wasn't an easy way. They didn't just hand it to me on a silver platter. But if I was willing to put forth the effort, they were willing to drop the cost, or they were willing to erase the cost. But I had to do my part. And that's why I'm always going to make those ways. All right. All right. I wish I could tell who this is. I don't know who you are, but thank you for thanking me. It makes me feel great. All right. On that happy note, I'm going to say goodnight for tonight. Thank you all for being here. Y'all take care and be blessed. Love the podcast?
Be sure to like, subscribe, and forward to 3 friends. You can ask a question or take a life-changing class at buildingwealthtogether.com. Now, go walk in abundance and leave a legacy.